Okay,
Cool.
so before we start, quickly tell me, how was the flow workshop for you?
Phenomenal. I've done things that I didn't think were possible. I mean, I went home that night after walking on fire specifically, and I baked some buns in the oven and everything. And I said to my kids, that oven's 200 degrees. Twice that is what mom walked over. So that's mind bending.
Wow, yes, that
So
is.
yeah, yeah. And I
Okay.
mean, even tying it back to Kili, I mean, I realize how often I actually am in flow when, just in your day to day, just when things are in that sweet spot, when things just click. And on the mountain it happened, you sort of hypnotize yourself, but you're consciously hypnotized. So it's
Yeah, so,
amazing.
just for everyone to know, who's is Barbel or is it Barbel? How do I say your name?
Berbe.
Barbel. Okay, it's that German.
It is German, yes.
Yes, wow, good, eh? So tell us quickly a little bit about you, where you come from,
Oh,
what you do.
what I do? Well, I was born in Germany. I came here to South Africa when I was 8. And yeah, I've always had a bit of a crazy streak. I'm a master diver, dive master. Dived with sharks. I've skydived. What else have I done? Walked on fire now. Climbed Kili. So I like doing things that push me, that excite me, that are different, that are yeah.
Wow, I'm actually impressed. Wow, diving, especially with sharks, eh? That is a
Yeah,
scary sport.
yeah,
But
yeah.
sounds like you're adventurous. So then on Christmas, I think you probably went for a bucket list or something, and then decided to climb Gilly. So what happened there?
No, my husband and I, years ago, before we had kids, we wanted to climb up Kili. And we were in our 20s, 30s, early. We were young and poor. And it just didn't work out. It didn't have money. It was expensive and all that kind of stuff. And I guess we probably may not have had the maturity to do it, to really, put our thoughts into actions. And my husband looks after .Africa, which is a top-level domain. I think you're aware of it.
Yes.
And in June or July last year, the .Africa team went to the African Union Summit, in Addis Ababa, and they received the .Africa flag with the instruction is take it to the continent. In other words, build awareness about .Africa and the top level domain, the generic top level domain, because it is for all of Africa. And yeah, so they took it across the continent, and then the CEO, Lucky Masiela, said he's going to take it to the top of Africa, being Kili. And, we all said pipe dream and blah, blah, blah. And my husband said, yeah, we might go to the top of Kili. And I said, well, if you do, I'm coming with. And then it just sort of was simmering around in the background, and there were no real plans in place. And then my husband came home just before Christmas, a week before Christmas, and said, right, we're going on the 15th of January. And I said, well, the kids start school on the 17th of January. And I don't know how we're going to do this. This is how do we prepare? How do we get gear? And all these obstacles, because we wanted to, we overcame. And it was just magic how it all fell into place. It was quite um, unsettling how quickly we got things done. Look, I'm a runner, so I mean, I did a half marathon in November, so we're reasonably fit and everything. But it just flowed. It was amazing.
So there was basically no preparation, just getting the gear and
Yeah, yeah. We did the West Cliff stairs a couple of times. And obviously, we tried to then reduce the running and rather do slow running or walking, hiking. But other than that, I mean, we were generally fit, not super athlete fit, but generally fit for just taking on a 6-hour walk. So I must say, my fitness helped me with the recovery. more so than with the actual walking.
Okay,
So
recovery
once you
afterwards,
stop
or
exercising, to recover and get yourself together again, that really helped where I was fit.
is it? Do you mean the recovery after every day's walk? That recovery
Yes.
plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is important. So, but tell us so quickly. Okay, now you prepared and you went to climb Kilimanjaro. So, tell us a little bit about the journey of every day. What can we expect? Just the nice part of it, and then we can delve into the other side of it.
Yeah. One thing I strongly recommend is for people to journal. I read it again last night, just in preparation for today, just to take me back there again. And it was so amazing that the journey I went on, the little things that you write down journaling, because it's emotions, but you need to write them down, otherwise you forget them. So it's really, I encourage you strongly to write down and journal. We went for 10 days. So we arrived, had dinner and everything. The next day we went and did a small sort of almost initiation hike to our head guide's house and had lunch there. And even that was already not quite a baptism of fire, but it was like, okay, this is a lot of walking, and it's hot, and it's humid, and it's actually quite steep. I mean, you're on the slopes of a mountain, even down in the towns. Got welcome to an amazing spread and an amazing view, went back to gear rental, hired some gear. If you need gear, it's a bit of a room with a lot of gear, but I mean, they really have some good stuff if you get there early. So I hired, for instance, a 4,500 Rand Kilimanjaro K-Way sleeping bag, which for $20, which is, I mean, really a giveaway. But they have some good gear if you need anything, so you don't have to buy everything. But some things, like of a personal nature, for instance, I bought a jacket that I think I'll use again anyway. But so that was in the gear. Then we had a big celebration, and that was for the Africa launch. So we had a big party. And then the next morning, got up, got dressed, packed our stuff together in our duffel, and headed off. It was a 2-hour drive from where we were staying to Umbwe Cave. Umbwe, is it Umbwe? It is Umbwe. Yeah, to Umbwe Cave, because we started on the Umbwe route, which is in between, if you look at it on a map, between the Mashami route and the Maranga route. So it's quite a steep route. We started walking in the mud, knee deep.
Knee deep. No. Okay.
Knee deep. No, I promise you, my hiking boots probably gained a kilo of mud each. And you're trekking up the hill for 4.5 hours.
Sure.
So it's not easy. But, one thing that made the whole thing a lot easier, you have one job every day, and that is to walk. You don't have to go and write emails. You don't have to make phone calls. You don't have to look after your kids. You pretty much just get up in the morning, sort your stuff out, your duffel and your sleeping bag, get yourself ready, which is basically 2 wet wipes and some water, have some breakfast, and start walking. And your sole purpose for the day is to move yourself from one camp to the next camp. So you're not distracted by city life, by all your other things that you have to do day to day, and now in preparations and things like that. You really just have to worry about moving yourself and looking after yourself and taking care of yourself. So it does become easier if your sole journey is just get from here, get to there, and then you can chill.
But so on this journey, I think it's probably a lot of things. You're physical fit, but how's the mental preparation? Do you have to prepare mentally as well? Is it in the beginning, or is it okay in the first few days and then it gets harder, or what is?
No, I think even on every day's 4 to 5 hours of walking, you have good moments, you have jovial moments, you have depressed moments. When it rains for the 4th time that day, it's hard to get your energy together and actually smile. But you're in with a group of people. You almost get yourself into a rhythm. The beauty of that mountain every single day, be it immensely tall trees. I mean, rainforest. I mean, you see it in pictures, but what the eye can pick up compared to what a camera can pick up, even at National Geographic photograph level, it's just so much more incredible. So you distract yourself from the misery of walking in mud, and you see fluffy calabash monkeys fearlessly jumping from tree to tree. You see flowers and ferns, and you hear noises. There's no cell phones, there's no emails, there's no distractions. It's just you and nature, and getting yourself up this mountain.
Yeah.
And then, even once you're through the rainforest, the trees become shorter and shorter and shorter. You go through the moors and the heath, and then you get to the alpine desert, and then to the snow peaks. And every zone has its own beauty and its own challenges. But yeah, I mean, so mentally, I was lucky. I had my husband with me, my rock. He's here right now. Do you want to say hello?
Hello, sir.
So he was, Calvin is mentally very strong, where I'm like, up and down. It's like, if I'm happy, I'm really happy, and if I'm depressed, I can get like really grumpy. And Calvin is really good in telling me to get my A into G, but then also being gentle with me and just giving me a hug when I need one. And he's good in reading me. But it's okay, because even if you don't go with a person, that's that close to you, the guides that stay with you have got the most amazing energy. It's calm, it's resourceful, it's energizing without being excited. It's calm without being depressed. It's just, and they're so good at reading you. It's phenomenal. These guides are. They're just amazing people.
Yeah, I've heard that. And we spoke. I think it was Riyadh that said the same thing. How amazing they are. They become like sort of an extra pillar on your way up the mountain.
It's not an environment that an average human should go to. And I mean, Kilimanjaro is a tourist destination, and I think it's harder than that. But look back and actually appreciate each moment. Look back and saying, look how far I've come. It's really a metaphor for life. Look how far I've come. I can see the mountain, or I can see the hills and the inclines in front of me. But one step at a time, pole, slowly, and one step at a time, you eat away at this mountain.
Yes.
It's definitely doable.
One other person that I talked to that climbed Kilimanjaro, he said for him, the journey was, he sort of died on the mountain and was reborn. He said it's like he was meeting God for the first time. Did you also have a similar experience?
I don't know if I died. You go to the mountain, and there's definitely a shift that happens. I mean, much like walking on fire, you'll never be the same. It's, you do things and you're saying, shit, sorry, language. I can climb Kilimanjaro. I can do anything. I can walk on fire. I can do anything.
Now, since January, has your life changed in a sense in that way? Are your outlook different? Are your approach to people and situations different?
No, and that's the sad part. It's very difficult to hold on to that energy in Joburg, in a Sandton corporate where I work. You try and remind yourself, but to really try and connect to that and to stay connected to that is difficult. You get washed with so much negativity. you're just on your way to work, and I've stopped doing this. Listen to 702, and it's like your day is ruined because they find nothing positive in the world.
Yes.
Even in the good news stories, there's depression. So it's difficult to fight against that negativity on a daily basis. But there are moments when you stop and think, and you're saying, actually, and I'm grateful for this opportunity, because it's taken me back there, and it's sort of made me reconnect to the learnings that I met on the mountain.
What is some of the learnings for you?
Sure. You can't do things alone.
Wow.
And yet you're doing it alone. So it's I suppose it's a cluster of islands. We all need each other. We're all dependent on each other. But you still have to do your bit, and you have to get yourself up that mountain with your own 2 feet.
So it just shows you again that it's also important who you surround yourself with. But, even though you surround yourself with greatness and awesome people, you still have to make it work. You still have to take action. You still have to walk up that mountain.
You still have to make that decision to, put on your backpack, your day pack in the morning, strap on your boots, even though your feet are sore, and your legs might not be feeling so comfortable, but to actually then just get up, get going, show up, and just trust the guides to pace you, trust the guides, even if you're feeling okay, to stop, have a sip of water, vital, magic mountain medicine. Water is so important. 5 liters a day, and it's easy because water's got oxygen in it. So not only are you breathing it in, you're drinking it in as well.
Okay, that's important.
Water's important. The water is very important.
So, okay, so before we get to the thing about being at top of the mountain, so tell us some of the things, because you had the short period of preparation, so you had to go. And so on the mountain, what is the things that, that we need to know, that what do we need to take with? What is the challenges you face? Is it, like you said, it's very warm, but it might be cold as well. So what is the...
So what I did is getting organized is important. It helps you tremendously because you don't have to think, because thinking slows down. So make sure that, I had my flip file, and I put all my information in there, in terms of checklists, in terms of itineraries, in terms of what to pack, that I was organized, and I just had to go to my flip file and I could find everything. So that helped me tremendously. Ziploc bags are vital. You're going to have a duffel, which is hold on, if I can show you. My duffel. There we go.
Nice.
And it becomes a mess after the first day. So if you have Ziploc bags, and you label them well, so socks, so make sure you lay out exactly. I also made a list of what I was going to wear each day. I had a big Ziploc with my sleeping things, so I slept in thermal longs and in a thermal vest, and then I slept in, I think it was, I had 1 pair of sock liners that I slept in. So, then I have, and my pillow was in there, and my sleeping bag liner. Very, very important sleeping bag liners, especially if you're hiring a sleeping bag, because it's your own dirt then, and it adds a lot of warmth. So that sort of was my sleeping pack. Then I had a pack for my game energy sachets, and I had a Ziploc bag for my snacks. I had a Ziploc bag for all my socks labeled. So, you wear the same socks 2 days in a row, and it's okay if you take them off when you stop walking and they can dry. I had a Ziploc bag for my waterproofs. I had a Ziploc bag for my fleecies. So just to categorize everything so that you're not searching madly. It's sort of an organized chaos mess. So that helped a lot, Ziploc bags. The day pack, keep as light as possible. You're going to walk with 2 liters of water. Trusted Nalgene. So I had one a water Nalgene and one with game, which was great. And that, I mean, between my husband and I, we shared 1 liter of game, which was enough. And then obviously he carried another 2 liters of water. And try and finish that water. It really, I mean, like I said, it really oxygenates you. It really heals, and it really provides so much energy. Prevents altitude sickness, and just lubricates you, and it's just magic. I had a cock day pack. I should have invested in a decent one that has a decent waist strap. Or hip strap, whatever they're called. So I should have spent money on that. I was at the airport leaving, and I walked into Cape Union Mart and I said I should buy a backpack, and I didn't, and I should have. So make sure that that's comfortable. Waterproofs. All the guides had golfing umbrellas. It's the weirdest thing. You're walking through a rainforest, you're climbing Kilimanjaro, and there is this red and white striped golf umbrella. I was thinking about it because, that makes a lot of sense, because the rain's generally short and it comes from the top, so an umbrella is actually great. But I was thinking about it, the guides don't use trekking poles, so you can't hold an umbrella and have trekking poles. So that's something to consider. We had rain ponchos, which worked quite well. Hello, Andrea.
So she's listening. You can keep talking. So rain ponchos.
Rain ponchos, yep. And then just make sure your day pack's as light as possible. So don't take unnecessary stuff. I had a little bit of first aid, like plasters, but it's unnecessary. I had, what else did we have in our day pack? I must have a look. Hold on. See, it's all in my thing. Waterproof, your tops and bottoms. I did take my waterproof pants, but I only wore them once, and that was for summit night. Because the rain ponchos were fine. And if you have a rain poncho that's long enough, that should sort of end where your gaiters start.
Okay.
So your legs won't get wet. I had a little bit of food, water, first aid. Gaiters I wore every single day. So that's the waterproof that seals off between your boots and your pants. The first day I wore shorts, and that was fine in the rainforest. And then the trekking pants are really good enough for every other day. Don't wear thermals any other day during the day, except for summit night. Mind you, I don't know about July, but it's much of a muchness, I think, throughout the year. Because, it might start off at below 0 in the morning, but as soon as the sun comes up, it gets hot quite quickly. And then, you're going to try and find a rock to take off your thermals from under your trekking pants. And there's not many bushes or rocks. Mind you, on the mountain, no one really cares. So we're all in this together, and it's like really, really, really tribal.
Yeah, well, tell us about that, because I remember you told me the other day, the hair,
No, God, no. I'm blonde, and I've got fine hair, so it gets quickly. So the first day, beautiful, but you're also wearing a hat every day, a trekking hat with a nice brim, which also prevents rain. But it's, you don't wash for 8 hours for 8 days. So, I had facial wipes, because I do come from Sandton. And then normal wet wipes, baby wipes for underarms and other bits. Feet are important. Make sure you have clean feet. Dry feet, and change your shoes when you get to camp, so you don't walk around in your hiking boots when you have wet feet, and you want to change your shoes into running shoes or something. What else? Yeah.
Okay. And then, so all of that is important, but I think and again, it just shows you have to organize and you have to plan ahead, and I think that's very important. And you can get by with a little, but I think in the end of the day,
yes, very little. I wore the same pants for an entire week.
Yeah,
I
because
had
nobody's going to worry about it.
no, and I mean, there's a joke on the mountain. That this, you don't worry about the smell. You must only worry about the smell if the porters come past you and you can't smell them anymore. Then you smell as bad or worse. And you have to get comfortable with your own dirt. It's okay. I mean, as ladies, we like to shave our armpits, and on day 6 or 7, you look under your arms, and it's really horrific. It's like, no, it's not me. And you go with it. It's
okay. And so on the last day, they wake you about what 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
We woke up at 10. From Barafu camp, yeah. And you get, I mean, everything is slow. So you think to put your boots on, have a cup of Milo, get dressed, will take you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Takes you an hour. Everything is slow. Not because you're consciously slowing it down, but because everything happens in slow motion, because you cannot go faster.
Wow, really?
Really. So, you have to think about, I need to go to the toilet. It's 15 meters away. It's going to take me a good 5 minutes to get there. Oops.
Wait. Okay. Keep talking.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah. So it really takes, and then, to unzip your pants and to actually go to the loo, to put on a jacket. It's a slog. It's slow. And your body will tell you instantly if you're going to fast. You'll get a headache.
Oh, okay.
So you get woken up at 10, 11 o'clock. You start walking, headlamps. One thing that's very important for summit night, make sure you have lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah.
They're a bit more expensive, but they last a lot longer, and they're a lot brighter at altitude, because the normal zinc oxide or whatever they are start to fade, and we saw it. Because if you're walking from 11 and sunrise is at about from 11 to sunrise is about 7, so you're walking for 8 hours, and you don't want that light to fade, because that light is your only hope.
Wow. Okay, so that is important.
That's important. Yeah.
So do you, at that altitude, before you hike, do you puke as well? Do you get nauseous?
I didn't. I got a bit of a runny tummy once, but not even that was bad. I got some medication. I can tell you what it was. But I can't even find it now. Smecta. Smecta was very good for runny tummies. Because it doesn't block anything, and it's a good way of controlling a runny tummy. But we had a great medic, and I'm sure there'll be a medic on your trip, and they'll generally sort you out. Try not to take anything with anti-inflammatory. So try and get a paracetamol if you're going to take pain pills and things like that. That's just paracetamol that doesn't have any anti-inflammatories in it, because anti-inflammatories apparently aren't good on the mountain.
Okay, that's good, because I need to know that for my pain.
Yeah. So I asked the pharmacist, and I said, I need the strongest pain medication that doesn't have an anti-inflammatory. And they looked at me weirdly, but then they gave me some pink pills that were like a Panado, a little bit stronger, but just paracetamol.
Okay, that's good to know. So on the morning of the hike, the climb, you said it was your most challenging day.
I look at adventure, and I'm always excited when I start new things, and that's how I wandered off into the night. What was special was the guides, and some of the guys that came with us led us into a Swahili prayer. I didn't know what it meant, but you feel the gravitas of it, and there's a lot of traditions around the things you do on camp. And the singing was beautiful. There was 2 songs, Jambo Bwana, was beautiful. And the way these male choirs, they sing is just phenomenal. And so we set off into the night. Initially, it's a slow walk, and you're slow and steady, and you're not rushing, and you're thinking, and you know, just trying to stay warm. And then you get a little bit out of camp. We stayed quite low in Barafu camp. So you got to walk through the camp first, and then you start going up some rocks and some shale. And it's hard going, but it's okay. And then the wind kicks in. And then that wind was, I mean, it's, you know, minus 20 degrees and wind like there's no tomorrow. I remember putting my trekking poles down, and you plant them down straight, and the wind takes them half a meter across, and you're fighting against that constantly. So it's every step's a struggle. Every step takes 2 breaths. So that's hard. To walk, I mean, it's a shuffle. It's so slow. You think you're going super fast, but you're actually walking like a sloth. Slow, and the wind is pumping. You're wearing 6 layers of clothing. I wore thermals, a trekking top, a fleecy, my down K-way jacket, a soft shell, and a ski jacket on top of that. And I was cold. My fingers were freezing. My feet were freezing. Make sure you wear fresh, new Summit socks on Summit night, by the way. You want decent socks, not ones that have been washed 10 times. And you just carry on. I mean, my trekking top had a built-in hoodie. I had a beanie on top of that, and my snow jacket had a cap, and you know, all that looked out was my glasses. It was freezing. It was really, really freezing. But
Gloves?
you walk. Pardon?
And gloves?
Gloves, yeah. I hired some very warm mammoth gloves, mittens, but I should have, and I had some thin gloves underneath that. Get decent gloves and mittens. So have proper glove liners, and then decent down gloves. It's cold. It's cold. And it's not like you can put your hands in your pockets because you've got trekking poles to help you up the hill.
As the trekking poles, does it help?
Yes, I think so. It gives you more stability. So you know, as you obviously opposite leg, opposite arm. And it does give you a lot more stability in terms of your walking. I really think it helped.
Okay.
It gives you, yeah, like I said, more stability. It also takes some weight off your legs, I think. Yeah, don't ask me to give up my trekking poles up the mountain. No, it really helped. Yeah, and trekking poles aren't expensive, so you know, if just buy a pair. It's really good.
Okay. So now you're busy summiting. Now you're on your way, and you say every step is like.
Every step is hard. Honest, our logistics person, so the guy who employs all the porters and all the guides, he all handed us a Red Bull as we left. It's funny, but it's actually so needed. It's the only time I'll drink Red Bull. Cracking open that Red Bull was such a heaven sent. After 4,000 meters, which is that Barafu camp, the last camp, you have no appetite. Don't think you're going to lose weight, because you won't. But you have no appetite. So, you know, our guide, and I find on Summit night they'll generally pair you up with a guide. So, you know, my husband and I had Bertus. Phenomenal strength, unbelievable. You know, he'll open up a chocolate wrapper for us, and he'll give us one tiny little square, and you know, you'll suck on that for half an hour, and normally in 2 minutes I can finish a whole slab. I'm not ashamed to admit that. So it takes energy to digest. It takes energy to eat. You don't have that spare energy. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but you can get through it. And that's the remarkable thing. If you just keep going. There was a couple of times I wanted to give up, and it was interesting about the words that I chose. I said, one of our guides, Ronnie, who organized the trip from Adventures Global, he had a triple bypass 18 months ago, so he said he's not going to summit. So I said, I'll just go and join Ronnie and play a game of cards. I never said I surrender. I never said, no, I think I did say I surrender, but I never said I'm giving up. I never said I'm quitting.
Mm.
And the words that you chose is are very, very interesting. And reflecting on it afterwards, my husband said, had I given up, and I said, I tap out, my husband would have joined me, because he was just waiting for me to give him the permission to give up. And I guess I was waiting for him to give me the permission to give up, and neither of us did, and just persevere.
So buddy system works.
Absolutely. And if you don't have a buddy, one will be assigned to you, and they'll be a mountain goat of note, and they will look after you and trust them, and they will love you. And I think I owe my life to Bertus, because without him, I don't think I could have made it.
Sure. And then
it's hard. What helped me a lot is one of my fellow climbers gave me a goo, from racing. I didn't even think to take any, and that little bit of liquid energy, because it's so easy to consume, it's so easy to swallow, and it gives you instant energy, and that helped me a lot. The Red Bull was great, and also the timing of it, and the guides will know. And then all of a sudden it starts getting a little bit lighter, and the wind's still howling, and then you're almost there, and sunrise is just wow. That's sunrise. Wow. And also, and that's the weird thing. Sometimes you're on that mountain and you can look down it if it's a clear day, and you can see the Marungu village or Mashami village, or wherever you are, Marungu generally. And you can see the lights, and those people have got air conditioners on, and they're fanning themselves because of the heat, and here you are freezing to your bone. And that contrast. One thing that was also just before sunrise, as you get up the mountain, Berta said to us, look at those lights just on the other side, just to the right of you. And he says, that's Kenya. And that's also something, you're climbing a mountain in Tanzania, and you can see the lights on in Kenya. Wow. It's phenomenal. It's what a privilege. Sure. Yeah. And then you climb up, and then the last 250, 300, 400 meters is screed. It is hard. It is hard. It is like climbing the biggest sand dune you have ever seen. It's loose gravel. It's gravelly sand. It's tough stuff. And as you walk up, you slide down. As you walk up, you slide down. And it's soul destroying. It is really soul destroying. And then you see Stella Point, and as I came over that lip, Stella Point is the rim of the crater, so that's basically you've made it. Then a little short walk to Uhuru Peak. As you get to that crater, I fell to my knees and I burst into tears. My husband just says, yeah, the short walk from Stella Point to Uhuru, which is about 700 meters, takes about an hour.
Wow.
Short walk, all relative. It's an easy walk, put it that way. Hard bit's over. But yeah, and just, there's no air. There's no air.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's
amazing.
It's hard.
And then you get to Uhuru Peak. Then you get there. What then? What is that last thoughts?
Sure. I saw it. I'm quite emotional. I burst into tears. I didn't stop. I walked straight to the sign and I kissed it. And I tapped it. And then you actually just sit there. And for me, I sat down and I said, okay, now what? Remember, your brain's not working correctly. You're sleep deprived. You're tired. Your brain's not oxygenated properly. You're exhausted. You've got no air. You're just not yourself. And, you've got to rest. And then, okay, well, we've got to take some pictures. So make sure you take some decent pictures. I regret I should have taken more. I should have taken better ones. My husband forgot that he had his balaclava on in every picture, so all you can see is little eyes. So things like that you don't realize. And the euphoria of getting to the top is just unreal. And you can't stay there for very long. I think we stayed long. We were there for 45 minutes. But my husband, who had pneumonia 2 years ago, said, listen, your lungs are failing, let's go. So we needed to go. And but yeah, it's unreal. And then it's over.
Yeah, but that's not the next question, because that same day you're almost at the bottom, the next day you're off the mountain. How do you...
Well, exactly. So, you then, obviously the walk down is a lot simpler. You don't take the same route up as you do down. So you basically come off the mountain, off from Stella Point, and you're following down a screed. So you're sliding, basically. It's hard on your ankles. It's hard on your thighs. But it's a lot easier, and every step you have more air and more energy, so that's what makes coming down a lot easier. And then you get to camp. We got there at about 1, after having walked since 11 the previous morning. You have some lunch and pack up your stuff, pack up your duffel, roll up your sleeping bag, maybe get changed, take some of your layers off. And then you walk for another 3 to 4 kilometers, 4 hours, sorry. And it's like, no, I can't. And I refuse. I'm staying here. I need a rest. And, you can't really sleep on the mountain because there's no air. I mean, even lower down on the mountains, you sleep long because, once the natural light goes away, it's not like you can switch on a lamp. I mean, your headlight is, not really conducive to doing much. And so you go to sleep early, you wake up early, but your sleep's not very restful. So you're, turning around from one shoulder to the other shoulder exhausts you, drives your heart rate up, makes you breathless, turning around in your sleep, basically. And obviously you wake up from that. But, so, you have a little rest at Barafu, have something to eat, take some of your layers off, change your clothes, and then you get going again. And it's like, I can't. And then 10 minutes into the walk, you're saying, actually, I feel fine. And I think it's the oxygen that you're getting with every meter that you're descending. You're getting more oxygen.
Wow.
And it works. And then, wow, and you're just running down this mountain all of a sudden. Yeah. So, and then, supper time, generally everyone goes the same route, and that's either to Millennium Camp or Maweka. Is it? It's Maweka. I need to look at can't remember. Maweka Camp, and that's lower and upper Maweka. And yeah, it is Maweka. So Millennium Camp was apparently too muddy because we had a lot of rain. So we went further and went to Maweka and slept there. And breakfast, dinner, and then breakfast the next morning. The porters and all the guides sang to us again. I mean, we had 53 porters. That's a lot of people. And then about 8 guides and a cook and Maitre D and the toilet man and everything. And the porters then get their gratuities, their tips. And then they basically run off the mountain, dump your gear, and then they disappear into the forest. But yeah, and it's sad to let go of these people. You've shared so much with them, and boom, they're gone.
Sure.
The guides stay with you a little longer. Obviously, the guides make sure that you get off the mountain. And then we had a celebratory dinner that night with our guides, and we gave them our gratuities then. And and then again they disappear, and then you fly back to Joburg and carry on with life with a new philosophy that doesn't quite fit into Joburg.
Yeah. I think it does taste you. I think, and I think that is why it's important, like you said, to journal, so that you can always go back and remember what you've done. And I think that is the one thing. Yes.
Yeah, just the little things, even journaling before breakfast. How do I feel? Where am I? What is my state? What's going on? The sunrise, the crests, the going up Barranco Wall. Oh my God. I mean, I did that. And the people are so amazing. Jambo means hello in Swahili, and then they respond to you, Jambo poa, which is cool, thanks. And it's just everyone's so selfless, everyone's so kind, and we're not used to it from city life.
Sure. So what's the way forward for you now?
Well, I've got all this gear that I've got to put to good use because I spent a lot of money on it. So I want to do the Inca Trail next. So,
The Inca Trail?
Yeah, I go to Machu Picchu in South America.
Well, that is our dream as well. If after Kili, next year's aim is to climb that. So if you wait till that time, you can join us.
Yeah. See, I've got to scratch some money together first.
Well, it's more than a year still left, so you can do it.
No.
Wow.
So yeah, it's part of a journey. I mean, I've done it. It's phenomenal. Generally the next step is to do base camp to Everest. And I see the people that from Adventures Global that took me up Kili, they now started yesterday at Kathmandu to Loki to go and do Everest base camp. But 21 days, I have, as you saw, young children. So I can't be away from home for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but maybe one day.
Yeah, one day. I don't know. We'll see.
So,
interesting to note. Kilimanjaro is higher than base camp at Everest.
Okay. Didn't know that. Yeah, so that is interesting. Okay, so you're climbing basically base camp or a little bit higher than base camp.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, wow. Now, any last words from you, for the guys that is going to climb with me and for me?
Embrace it, love it. Remember, everything is transient. If you feel like you can't go on, you'd be amazed when you push that fear and pain boundary, how much further you can go, how deep that well is, how resourceful your body is, how powerful your mind is. Yeah. Fuck, do it.
Fuck that, I love it. It's an honor to have met you on Wednesday and now to being able to sit with you and talk with you and thank you for blessing me with all of this knowledge and experience and learning. Like we know, we can only learn from others if those who are successful. And you gave us a lot of tips, tips I think that we can use. If
you want information on gear, the best person that I found is a guy by the name of Pierre, and he is the manager at Cape Union Mart at Mall of Africa. I literally spent 3 hours there, and the stories he told from his own experiences as well, besides the fact that he's trying to push product, which actually he's not. He's too honest a mountaineer for that. But I got a lot of information from him. So for instance, things like cotton. Don't take cotton onto the mountain. You'll die. Make sure you have decent... no cotton. Are you typing this all in?
Yes.
No cotton. Make sure you have the right equipment. Make sure you have the right gear.
Yeah, I think the main thing in the end of the day is because with the company that we're climbing, we can rent gear. But I think in the end of the day, it's the tips like what you are giving, what gear to rent, but also what gear to not rent.
Yeah.
Like you said, your jacket or is example very important.
Yeah. And also remember, there's loads of sleeping bags. I mean, I knew that, I'd done my homework in terms of what sleeping bag to get. You want a down sleeping bag. Some of the sleeping bags that were hanging there, I wouldn't even use in Joburg in summer, that kind of thing. So, if I've rented that sleeping bag, it's on the mountain, it's not available for the next person to use. So I suppose it's a bit of a hit and miss, but I think you'll be okay, especially with a sleeping bag liner.
Sleeping bag liner. Okay.
Yeah, I can show you what they look like. Now where is it? Yeah. So it's a thermal travel liner. and it's literally this floor, and it's super soft, it's super warm, and my kids will use this when they go to camp in summer instead of a sleeping bag. It's really nice. Yeah.
Okay.
And that worked well.
Thank you. Yeah, if there's anything else, I would reach out to you. I think you already said a lot. It just makes me excited, even with my challenges and everything. One side, I'm a little bit anxious and a little bit of, can I do this? But it also makes me excited about the possibility of, going through those lessons and going through those learnings and to see what I'm really made of. Because I think you get, like you said, you get tested of how to push through fear and how to push through pain.
But I think it's a lot of a mental game, and so you take things slower. You don't have to be first at camp. It's not a competition. You're not competing with anybody. And one thing I also wanted to mention is generally they monitor you quite well. They have oximeters, so they'll measure on your finger your oxygen saturation in your blood every morning and every night, and they monitor you how well you're metabolizing your oxygen, which I think is important in terms of altitude sickness, and just with I don't know if I can call you a disability or what, with your condition, take it slowly, and don't push yourself too hard. You've got the whole day to walk this. Really, you have.
And I think that is what the secret is, that it's not a competition. It's not of rushing up. It's like you say, you have the whole day. So if you're tired, you rest a little bit, and you keep on, in place of 4 hours, it's 5 hours.
And it's not cold during the day while you're walking. So it's not like you're going to protect yourself from the cold. It's if you keep moving and so you walk 500 meters and have a rest, big deal. You walk another 500 meters, you have another rest, and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the birds, enjoy the fauna and the flora and the moonlight alpine deserts that they've got. It's
Make sure your pee bottle is more than 500 milliliters.
Did you get that? No, honestly, I don't know who's going to listen to this, and parental guidance is advised. I peed in a bottle at night.
Yes.
Girls, if you're out there, go to Shewee, SHEWEE, order yourself a Shewee. Practice with it before you go, and get yourself a pee bottle for in the tent at night that is larger than 500 milliliters, because if you're drinking 5 liters a day, you're going to pee a lot. You're also going to sweat out a lot. So I never needed to go to the loo while I was walking, but at night I definitely needed to go to the loo. And if it's -5 degrees outside and you're sleeping in a liner, in a sleeping bag with just your thermals on, you don't want to have to put on a jacket and pants and your boots and everything else to walk the 20 meters to the porta potty. Trust me, pee bottle.
I think that is, of all of it, that is a big learning. I would never have thought to take a pee bottle. And
pee bottle,
make sure it's more than 500 ml.
Yeah.
Because at 450 mils full in the tent, you got a problem.
That's fun. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for letting me revisit it.
Yeah, that's a pleasure. And thank you for making time. Send regards to your husband that side. Say thank you for that tip. Thank you for the tip. And hopefully we will meet each other soon. I will keep you up to date. So
if there's anything else that you want to ask, give me a shout. You got my WhatsApp number, or give me a call. And happy to help.
We'll definitely do that. And have an awesome Sunday and enjoy the time with the family.
Will do. Thanks, Take care.
Cheers. Bye.